The deadlift is one of those exercises where a few form tweaks can be what makes the difference between breaking your back and breaking through a plateau. And I have an article on my website that I'm going to link to down in the info section for you guys. It has about 123,000 reads. And the reason why I think this article did so well is because not only did I put a video at the top here explaining everything in it, going over everything from proper foot stance to how to warm up your lower back to what kind of footwear you should be wearing to how to flex your internal belt even if you decide you want to wear a weightlifting belt. But I also put in a lot of like fundamental type videos as well, showing you guys how to stabilize the barbell, how to set up correctly, what your foot stance should be. Should it be wide? Should it be close together? Should it be shoulder width? What hip drive looks like, what it should feel like, and it goes on and on and on. And I'm going to come back to this article here in a minute, but I just want you guys to understand that when you're doing a deadlift, it doesn't have to be an exercise where you're constantly just trying to lift as heavy as you possibly can every single time you do the movement. In fact, what I've been doing lately is having maybe one day a month out of like, I deadlift once a week. So out of one of those weeks, what I'll do is I'll lift as heavy as I can and I'll get to a set of 3 to 5 repetitions. But for the most part, I'm going for volume on my deadlift. And you guys who follow me on Instagram, you'll see me do like 315 double overhand grip, and I'll do sets of 12 to 15 repetitions in a row. And you might have noticed something subconsciously while this video was playing that I'm going to point out to you now. It's called a deadlift because you're supposed to lift dead weight on every single repetition. You're not supposed to bounce. That's why you'll notice that I'm pausing. After every single repetition, in the bottom position of the movement, I'm letting the weight come to a dead stop, and then I'm re-engaging my core, I'm flexing my lats, I'm pulling the slack out of the bar, and I'm pushing through my feet to maximize the strength building potential that this exercise offers. And for those of you who hear people say things like, oh, the risks outweigh the benefits of a deadlift, it's just because they don't know how to do it properly, or maybe, I don't know, maybe they injured themselves in the past and now they're afraid of the exercise. Because if you really think about it, you see a lot more people blowing a pectoral bench pressing than you see people getting seriously hurt on a deadlift, right? That's just facts. And the most common injury when it comes to a deadlift, believe it or not, it's not a lower back injury, it's a bicep injury. And that comes from not keeping your arms locked when performing the movement. And I go over that in my video. In fact, I plan on making another how-to golden rules deadlift video. So if you don't want to miss that, make sure you subscribe, where it's going to be super condensed. And I'm going to give you guys a ton of information in 3 minutes or less. It's probably going to become your go-to deadlift video, but it's going to take me some time to get there. So I wanted to at least get you started now, because you guys should be deadlifting every single week. But if we take a look at these benefits, dude, you guys all have access to Google. Google even now has AI in it, right? You can use Grok, you can use ChatGPT to find the benefits of deadlifting, and the benefits are amazing. Full body strength and muscle growth. Deadlifts are a compound exercise that works multiple muscle groups simultaneously, including the back, legs, glutes, and core, not to mention all the stabilizer muscles that are required in order to lift the weight up and down. And if you're not using wrist straps, getting a pretty damn good forearm workout using double overhand grip and gripping that bar as hard as you can, especially as you start lifting heavier. Functional fitness, right? The deadlift mimics real life movements, such as lifting heavy objects from the ground. So many people, as they get older, they throw out their back because they can't lift heavy objects. Even if they lift properly, their core is just not used to flexing and bracing as they lift things up. And that's where I'm saying, if you go to the gym and you want to put the deadlift in your workout routine, but you don't want to lift heavy, maybe you're afraid of lifting heavy, maybe you just don't want to lift like super heavy and do like, reps of like 3 to 5 repetitions, do 8 to 10, do 10 to 12. Just do something that allows you to lift heavy with the deadlift enough to where you're activating all those muscles mentioned previously in the first tip up here. Improved bone density. This one is so important, guys, right? There's a reason why when grandma falls down when she's 87 years old, she breaks every bone in their body, right? Anybody for that matter. As we get older, we don't move around as much. We're not, exercising as much. We're not going up and down stairs. And if your muscles and bones don't have any sort of like pressure on them, which weightlifting does that, right? And being active does that, they start to get weak. And for your bones specifically, you could actually develop osteoporosis because the way your body releases calcium and new calcium goes in the bones is through stress being placed on your bones. So that's another great reason to deadlift, because it's placing stress on all the bones pretty much in your body because you're lifting heavier weight than you normally would with all the other exercises that you're doing. Enhance core strength and stability, obviously, because you have to brace your core to do the movement. And, reduce risk of injury overall because you're strengthening the muscles surrounding the spine and the core, which can improve your posture and stability and potentially reduce the risk of back pain and injuries associated with poor posture. So, like, when people say the risks outweigh the benefits, the risk is that you just don't know what the heck you're doing and you're not deadlifting correctly, right? Like, the risk is that you just don't know how to deadlift and you don't want someone to teach you how to do it. And maybe you're embarrassed to have someone teach you in the gym. I don't know. But the benefits greatly outweigh the risks if you know how to do the exercise properly. So there are a few things in this article. I mean, you can go here and check it out on your own time, guys, and watch all the videos if you want to. There are a few things I want to point out that are super important. Number one, and this is things that I feel like hang people up the most and really throw off their form, all right? Proper footwear. If you're deadlifting in running shoes, you need to take them off and go barefoot. Okay. When you deadlift, you want to create as short a range of motion as possible. Also, running shoes are made to cushion you while you run, right? That's why we buy them when we're running outside on pavement. The cushion on the bottom, usually it's like an inch thick. It's cushioning the run for you. You don't want any cushion on a deadlift or even a squat for that matter, because cushion means instability, especially as you start lifting heavier weights. Also, your form will be affected if your feet are an inch higher off the ground and standing on a cushion. That's why it's important to make sure you're not using running shoes. Now, lifting shoes, on the other hand, they do have an elevated heel, but it's a solid foundation for you to push off of with your heels when performing an exercise. All right, it's made for people who want to have more stability when they deadlift, when they squat, especially if you prefer to have your heel off the ground. If you don't want to go having to find 5-pound plates to stand on, you can get a lifting shoe. Me personally, I like to go barefoot or I wear wrestling shoes. Other people wear Chucks because the amount of surface area on the bottom of the shoe is minimal and it almost feels like you're barefoot. So that's what I do. I wear my wrestling shoes. You guys see me wearing wrestling shoes in all my videos. Another thing you guys should be doing, and this is even great for when you're doing, like before you start squatting or just exercising in general, if you have a tight lower back, is you should be doing warm-up exercises. This is one of the best ones that you can do, okay? I'm gonna go over them real quick. The first one is called an alternating hand-to-toe touch or toe-to-hand touch, right? All you're doing is lifting your leg and then going across your body, trying to bring your toes to your hand. And then you bring that leg down, you bring the other one up, and you go across and touch those toes to the opposite hand. And I'll tell you what, man, every single time you do this, your lower back's gonna crack and it's gonna feel amazing. Also, you should be doing these warm-ups even in between your sets, especially if you're really tight. When the blood is circulating and the blood is flowing and the muscles are warming up, it's easier to loosen them up more with your warm-up exercises. So don't think a warm-up is just, well, I'll do a couple sets before I get started, and then I'll just never do it again. No, you want to do it in between your sets as well. And this is the other warm-up you should be doing. It's called an alternating scorpion, where you're essentially doing the same thing, right? But now you're laying on your stomach and you're trying to bring your opposite foot to your opposite hand. And usually I go back and forth like 10 to 12 times and I'll do it twice before I start my first set. Really amazing warm-up for you guys to be doing pretty much on a daily basis. I mean, you can even do it when you wake up in the morning as well. You just want to stay loose. Now, let's talk about a weightlifting belt and also your internal belt, right? Your internal belt is all of the muscles in your core in the front and back. A lot of people, when they put on a weightlifting belt and they start doing exercises like a heavy squat or a heavy deadlift, it's like they forget they're supposed to also flex their core as well, embrace their core. A belt only works properly. So a belt is creating inward pressure. That's why like you tighten it up and it creates inward pressure on your core. At that time now, when you start doing your lift, you take in a breath, you still want to flex and brace and flex all the muscles in your core as hard as you can to create outward pressure against the belt. And it's this combination of inward pressure from the belt being tight and outward pressure of you flexing your core that stabilizes the shit out of your core and allows you to lift heavier weights. And if you have lower back problems, you'll start to feel a lot safer lifting these heavier weights. Now, personally, I do not wear a belt until I absolutely need it, right? In fact, I usually don't even put on a belt until I get to about 500 pounds on the deadlift. But for me, the reason why I do that is because I try to focus on bracing my core, flexing and squeezing as hard as I can to be as strong as possible. So you don't have to do that. That's a little like on the extreme side, but it's just how I like to train. So when you guys start getting into heavier weights, maybe you're doing like 4 to 6 reps in a row. At that time, you should probably throw a belt on. But if you're just warming up and you're just doing 8 to 10 reps or something like that, right? Don't throw the belt on. Don't make it a crutch, right? Another important thing is going to be your foot stance. And what's interesting about your foot stance is this will probably change a lot, especially if you're just starting to deadlift now. This will probably change and your feet will get closer and closer together, especially obviously if you're conventionally deadlifting. That's what we're showing here. We're not talking about sumo. The stronger you get. And I noticed that when I first started deadlifting, my feet were shoulder width. Then as I started to get stronger and I started to try to find ways to get as much leverage as possible and push through my hips, my feet got closer and closer to closer, and now they are super close, like you see over here on the photo on the left-hand side. Now, another thing too is grip styles, right? There's the overhand grip right here where you have a double overhand. I like to do double overhand as long as I possibly can because what I'm also doing is working on my grip strength. I like to have a strong grip. If you're not really caring about your grip strength and you just want to lift as heavy as you can, I would recommend doing a double overhand grip using straps so that you can put straps on the barbell and you're not so much worried about your grip strength failing. Don't have straps, a great thing to do is a switch grip. Now, I will say on the switch grip, this is where, if anything, most people do get that biceps injury because as you can see over here on my right arm, my bicep is facing forward. And a lot of people, when they go to engage on a deadlift and they use a switch grip, they forget to lock their elbows before they pick the weight up, right? So let's say you're doing a heavy ass lift, you're doing 315 pounds, and you go to do your switch grip. I'm going to back up a little bit right here, right? So you're holding the bar like this, and you go from here to there, and then start picking up the weight. But you just threw that entire load on this bicep tendon, and that tendon's going to say, ha! Maybe next time, bro, and it's going to snap, and you're going to have a pretty hardcore biceps injury that's going to take a while to recover. So switch grip isn't dangerous, just like any exercise isn't dangerous as long as you take the precautions and use proper form. The proper form here, and every time you do a deadlift, is make sure your elbows are locked, make sure you flex your lats, and you pull the slack out of the bar before you lift it up off the ground. And again, I go over all of these tips in this video right here. It's just a lot easier for me, obviously, to use the article and these photos to have a casual conversation with you guys. The other grip you can use is a hook grip. I've never deadlifted using a hook grip. I mean, it's an available grip. Some people love it. Some people hate it. I'm on the side of the equation that hates it, so I just don't use it. But it's not a bad grip to use. In fact, I mean, you'll never have to use straps again if you learn how to hook grip properly. And then, of course, as I mentioned earlier, you can use lifting straps. Chalk goes a long way as well. It's nice. You know what I actually do at the gym? I bring a rock climbing bag, right? Like when you rock climb, there's a bag you can buy that has chalk in it, right? Because you're obviously climbing the side of a mountain. You need chalk on your hands. That's a really easy way to bring chalk to the gym and not have it get messy. So a pro tip for you guys, get a rock climbing bag, fill it with chalk, and now you can bring that to the gym. And it's for a couple different reasons. Number one, most barbells at the gym are really old, and the knurling and the grip on the bar is like really bad and faded. Number two, it also gets hot and humid in there, which makes it hard to hold the bar. And if you're trying to overhand grip as much as possible, having that chalk is really going to help you be able to double overhand grip and get as many reps as you can out of the weight that you're lifting. Head, shoulder, and lower back positioning. This is really important too. A lot of people, when they start the deadlift, they have their head up like this, right? You want to maintain a neutral spine throughout the entire range of motion. So you will start the exercise like you're looking down at the ground, right? You want to have that neutral spine here. And you only are looking up as you come up. So you're literally here and you come up like this and you try to keep your spine neutral as you go up and down with the exercise. It takes a little bit getting used to. A lot of you are going to feel, tempted to just look at yourself in the mirror, especially if you're deadlifting in a squat rack and there's a mirror right there because you don't want to look at your form, but you have to break that habit. And if you can get yourself to maintain a neutral spine, you'll avoid straining your neck. Doesn't happen all the time, but if you're like this when you're deadlifting and you're pulling a lot of weight, it is possible to strain your neck muscles. And I mean, I've pulled a neck muscle just incline dumbbell pressing because I like tweaked my arm the wrong way. And that kind of strain on your neck, you guys know if you've done it, it takes like 6 to 8 weeks to go away, even if it's a small one. So just avoid that and try to lift with a neutral spine like I am in this photo. And then, of course, obviously, we have the warm-up, right? And I would say, and I'm going to reiterate, a deadlift is when you're lifting dead weight off the ground, right? So this actually is typically what I do for a warm-up. I do 225, and I'll do like 10 to 12 repetitions, and I'll usually do it twice. The first time I do it, I go slow like this, and I kind of just feel, my body pushing through the ground. I feel the explosiveness through my hips. I'm flexing my lats. I'm pulling the slack out of the bar. Then on my second warm-up, I actually do more of a speed version. I'm still letting the weight, dead drop on every single repetition, but I'm just like bam, 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 going as fast as I can. And then I get into my working sets and I start adding more weight. So guys, the deadlift, it's a compound movement where you're lifting a lot of weight. There is a lot that goes into it. And I really would love for you guys to go to my website, muscularstrength.com, and check out this article right here, because this article is really going to set you down the right path, has all the information that you need here, has videos of everything. And in the meantime, while you're perfecting your form, I'm going to create some other really great deadlift content for you guys as well to ensure that every single one of you is going to the gym and you're not afraid to lift heavy weight on the deadlift, and you're able to take advantage of all of these benefits that we talked about earlier in the video. So hope you guys enjoyed this video on deadlifts. Be sure to subscribe for more content, and as always, more good stuff coming soon. See you guys.